To fight effectively, you must empty yourself. Your eyes must see in all directions. Your ears shall be aware of all sounds. You must learn to feel every movement before it occurs and be ready to react. Try again.
One, two, three, four. One, two, three, four. One, two, three, four.
Then let's start, yeah?
Yeah. Ja.
Okay. Ja!
Ja.
Jawohl.
Ja, das,
I mean,
ist gut.
you're the first
Wie
guest.
geht's?
It's großartig. Wie geht's dir?
Und ihr?
Ask me in German if I speak German.
Sprechen Deutsch?
Selbstverständlich.
Ah, beautiful, beautiful. Very impressive.
Yeah. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, it's German late night, and on my side, it's the beautiful Sydney Thompson. Hello, Sydney.
Oh,
How are you?
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here with your amazing guests tonight. And of course, we are always happy to be with our amazing guest. Amazing host.
Yeah. I'm the host, by the way. I'm the host.
On the guest.
So we're here today with Mr. Kurt McKinney. Kurt, it's a pleasure to have you.
Thank you.
How are you?
I'm doing great. I'm doing really great. Happy to be here with you guys.
Yeah, that's absolutely great. It's really great. That's how kind of No Retreat, No Surrender fans look like now.
Yes.
Nerds like me. Kind of. But
Speak for yourself. Speak for yourself.
Is that what people that like No Retreat, No Surrender are called now? They're No Retreat, No Surrender nerds?
maybe.
No, I think the next generations are also appreciating your greatness, Kurt. It's not just
absolutely.
just
But
us.
we don't just wanted to talk about No Retreat, No Surrender because I recently watched the interview you did with Scott Adkins.
Oh,
yeah?
Okay.
On YouTube.
Yeah.
It was on February, and you guys spent most of your time talking about No Retreat, No Surrender.
We did. Yeah. I think that was the main topic.
Yeah, it was. Yeah,
there.
it's like his. He's like doing a martial arts kinds of style show, right? Yeah. So,
Yeah, and he was looking back at some clips from No Retreat, No Surrender, and asking about the sequences and the choreography and all of that. So yeah.
Can I ask?
Whatever you want.
Kurt, can I ask you? Do you get sick of talking about that film?
I'm flattered that it's still around and being talked about after all these years. I think it seems to have affected a lot of people that saw it when they were young, and it inspired them to train or to work out or to rise above a difficult situation. I've had people say that they saw it and it inspired them to lose weight and get in shape, and so no, I'm proud of that legacy, and for me it was a real treat. I had just moved there from Kentucky and to LA, and from Kentucky, and to get that as my first part was really special. It meant a lot, and it still does. And I'm glad that we just had a 30th 5 years ago. There was like a 30th anniversary of it here in New York, and they had it at a theater called the Alamo Cinema and Draft House. They served beer, and they played the movie, and we did a Q&A, and it was a lot of fun.
That would have been your perfect evening, right, Chris?
Absolutely. By the way, do you know what's the German title of the movie? Do you know that?
Karate Tiger.
Yeah, Karate Tiger. That's true. Karate Tiger. And I'm unfortunately
they just messed up on the cover. The Germans just messed up on the cover.
Yeah, somehow. Absolutely.
But
here you are. That's so.
Yeah.
Good. I'm glad I made the back. Well, it was the first film, I believe, that was shot in the U.S. that was shot by a Hong Kong film company. Seasonal Films was out of Hong Kong. They had done other martial arts films in China, and this was their first attempt at doing something in the US. I think it's for people that grew up with that. I think it's what it was like for me watching Rocky, the first Sylvester Stallone Rocky. I don't know what they call it in Germany, but you probably know that movie. And that for me was like my inspiration film, the one that got me up and drinking 6 eggs raw and putting on my sweats and heading out the door at 5 a.m. to go run 6 miles. That's your motivation. So when you watch those movies that you loved or TV shows that you loved when you were a kid, it's comfort food. It's just comforting. You curl up on a rainy night or afternoon, you watch your old favorite movie and you eat a pizza, or a bowl of ice cream. It's like it's comforting.
Absolutely.
Can I just quickly ask a really rude question, actually? How old were you, Kurt, when you starred in that film? No.
How old was I when I starred in it? I was 22 years old.
Oh.
I was just off, just got to LA. I was working as a waiter at a little restaurant on Sunset Boulevard called the Old Spaghetti Factory. And I answered a cold call, audition for that part, and just went in thinking, well, maybe I'll get something out of it because I have a martial arts background, and I'm trying to be an actor. This is a good thing to try and do. It's like go do something that you also have another skill set other than acting, and somehow I got the part.
And it was also your first part, your first role in a movie.
Yeah, it was my first role.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I did some local. It was you that got it.
Oh, thank you.
So happy.
I'm happy it was me too. It was an amazing experience when I did get it. It was in the 80s. It was before cell phones, and literally I had to drive from Hollywood back over to the valley to my apartment, just kind of on cloud 9, knowing that I just landed the lead in a martial arts film. Yeah. Surreal, Got home and called my mom and dad right away to tell them, and a few days later, after we had already started filming, my dad called me because I had signed up for the police department. I was possibly going to be a cop, and then hopefully to be a detective, like a narcotics detective is what I wanted to do, or thought I might want to do. And my dad called me and said, well, the police department came, your number's up. It's time to go to the academy. I guess you're not coming home, are you? And I said, no, I guess not. So.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah.
You literally got like great news in 2 completely different directions at the same time.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Okay. So, but may I ask, when did you decide to become an actor, or when? I mean, before that, you were in Kentucky, and when? How? Or why? Or how? Or
Yeah. Well, I think that certain movies that I had seen inspired me. Rocky, the inspirational film. I love the movie Jaws.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that me and my friends still recite those scenes from Jaws. I watched, certainly Bruce Lee movies like, gosh, what was the first one?
Enter
Fist
the
of
Dragon.
Fury, and what's that?
Enter the Dragon.
Enter the Dragon. Yeah.
Enter the Dragon, certainly, but I think before that I'd seen, Fist of Fury and some of those earlier ones that he had done, Return of the Dragon, that sort of those types of movies, and it inspired me to want to act. I dropped out of college, and I got a job as a car salesman, and a lady came into the dealership one day, and I waited on her and actually ended up selling her car. And it turned out she was the owner of a local modeling agency in Louisville, Kentucky. And she asked me if I ever thought about doing that. And I said, I certainly thought about it, but I, don't don't know anything about it. And so anyway, long story short, she picked me up and I started doing some local commercials and things like that. And I started off, my first acting job really was what they call an industrial film or a training film.
Okay.
Kentucky Fried Chicken. I was an employee at Kentucky Fried Chicken dealing with customer complaints. So that was my first job. So I got,
isn't it, from Kentucky Fried Chicken to No Retreat, No Surrender. It's a bit of a trajectory.
Yeah, but I was having so much fun doing these commercials and doing those films for Kentucky Fried Chicken that I would really like to do this. And I had enough people telling me, you should try it. You should really do it. And I thought, well, how do you do that? And as luck would have it, one of the other guys that was doing some local stuff too said, well, I want to, I'm thinking about, moving to Hollywood. I said, well, I'll go. So we went together and 5 months later, I was on the set of No Retreat, No Surrender.
That's incredible. That's incredible.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. It's great. Absolute great story. But you said in that interview that it was never your intention to become an action star or a martial arts star, right? Is that right?
That's true. I had seen movies like The Godfather, like The Deer Hunter, Steve McQueen movies like Bullet and Getaway, and I wanted to act, period. So it was kind of an afterthought to think that, because there was only one Bruce Lee at the time. There was, that's really weren't any martial arts actors back then. So I didn't even think of that as being a possibility. But I did realize that maybe that my experience as a martial artist could help me do something like that. Maybe it's a way to break into the business and get a small part in one of these types of films, because then I think actually I take that back. Chuck Norris had started doing some stuff by that time, before I started. So there was that, and I realized that was out there. And then I also had thought, I think there was a guy that was from Louisville, Kentucky, or someplace like that, who had done a soap opera, and I thought, well, maybe that's a way to start. I know a lot of actors started out on doing daytime drama, so I thought, well, I should think about those things as well as anything else that comes along. So I did. I thought about those. I did No Retreat, and I did General Hospital and Guiding Light. And I did the daytime dramas. So the things I thought of in my head actually happened. Because I went to the place where it could happen. I knew that staying where I was, wasn't going to happen, but I knew somehow that if I was in Hollywood, that maybe I could figure it out. Maybe it could happen. So the first step was to, have the experience that I had in Kentucky, but then get there and just be in the place.
Of course. And you were in Elf. You were in one episode. Yeah, in one episode, right?
Yeah.
Because my daughter, she was watching Alf, and at some time I was like, "That's Kurt McKinney." You were like the boyfriend from the tenor's daughter. I think. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, I had a couple of roles like that. There was a show called Give Me a Break with Nell Carter that I was in. I was the boy next door for the young girl on that show too. So I got to play the boy next door a few times. That stuff with the
so
TV.
you actually met Alf. That's great.
I actually met Alf.
Yeah.
And
Alf actually met Kurt McKinney.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, sorry.
Really.
Alf was a puppet. It was great. The stage, it was this. He was in. They was being worked by two puppeteers' hands, and then in a control booth with a guy doing the ears and the eyes and all that stuff. And then whenever he would walk on and off stage, it was a little person who would put on the costume and walk on and off the stage.
Oh.
So they had all sorts of little tricks, and it was a sitcom. Yeah. Considered a sitcom, but it wasn't as most sitcoms that in that day were. It was not filmed before a live audience. All the others were. This one they did because of the special effects and the puppet work with Alf. So.
That's absolutely great. And you, just like you already told us, you did a lot of television stuff. You for just a long time. General Hospital. It's absolutely famous here in Germany. But the other thing is guiding
everywhere.
It's everywhere, of course. Sorry, everywhere. Yeah, but Guiding Lights, I don't know that. Do you know, Sydney? Yeah. Do you know Guiding Lights?
I think I've heard of it, but I actually watched General Hospital.
Yeah, absolutely, as a child. Yeah. Okay.
I was on Guiding Light until 2009. It was canceled in 2009, as most soaps in the U.S. have now been canceled. I think there's just there's 3 or 4 left. But yeah, there was a bunch of them. At one time, there was 16 soap operas on daytime television. It was a very big thing. And then, with cable and the internet and streaming and all that stuff, these shows kind of died out, except for the few that are left.
So, I mean, speaking of movies in general, so you're some guy who's watching a lot of movies.
Yes.
Still.
Yeah.
Okay.
I like movies probably more than anything. Although there's really a lot of good TV shows now that primarily are on cable. There's a lot of good content out there, and what's great about it is you have hours upon hours of it. Whereas a movie, it's over in an hour and a half, roughly 2 hours maybe. So, but I like movies. That's my passion, I think.
That's great. So that's the right place to be here in my show, because we also love movies very much. We mostly, we are always talking about my guests' favorite movies. That's the idea or the thing of the show. That's what the show is all about. So let me ask you a question. If you would have a free choice of playing any role you could, if Bruce Lee's ghost came and would say, well, listen, Kurt, you have a free choice. Which role would you play and why? Is there some favorite role, or was there ever some role which you
it's a little difficult to say, because you have favorite movies, but the lead actor in those movies is part of the reason why you love that movie so much.
That's true.
So it's hard to say, well, I would like to have played that part, because nobody could play that part. It's like, it's got to be that guy. One of my favorite movies, I don't know if you guys know it, it's an old film before my time, and certainly before you guys' time. It's A Wonderful Life.
Yeah, of course.
Jimmy Stewart. Mm-hmm. It's just a great movie. It just holds up, all of these years later, to the point where every Christmas I have to at least at some point I have to watch It's a Wonderful Life. And it reminds
my version of that is Imitation of Life. I don't know if you know that.
Imitation of Life. I do know that. Who was in that though?
Oh, I can't remember her name now.
So it's very old. I think it's 1959 or
it's a long time ago. But there are certain eras, aren't there? Like, It's a Wonderful Life. It's just a timeless film.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is some movie you watch every Christmas, yeah? I also have movies I watch every Christmas, but it's like I'm an 80s guy, so it's more like Die Hard or Scrooge. Scrooge.
Listen, I'm a huge Bill Murray fan.
Yeah, okay.
Huge.
Okay, that's great.
If I get a chance to work with Bill Murray at some point, that'll be a real treat.
Okay, maybe he's watching. Then
I hope he is.
Yeah.
I even watched his last thing. Or I think it's his last thing. Is The Dead Never Die.
Jim Jarmusch
too. My parents took me to the drive-in when I was very little, because I pushed them so hard to take me to this triple feature horror drive-in thing when I was really young. I mean, probably like 8. And the big movie was Night of the Living Dead.
Okay.
So do you know that movie?
Of course, yes.
At 8 years old?
It's a little bit too.
At 8 years old?
Yeah, they took me to. They didn't know movies weren't rated back then. So
Yeah.
That's true. Yeah, yeah.
I was a kid that made monster models, and watched Night Gallery and Twilight Zone. And
I was the kid that couldn't sleep for a week after watching The Omen.
oh,
Between your television work, you returned to doing movies. You did some other martial arts movie, Sworn to Justice, 1996.
Yeah, Sworn to Justice with Cynthia Rothrock.
Yeah.
She was a female martial artist lead in that. There was Walter Koenig from Star Trek was in that.
Brad Dourif.
Brad Dourif, yeah, he was a great actor. He was in one of my old favorite movies, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Right.
Really in that.
Yeah.
And then later he was in another movie that not too many people know about, probably, as George C. Scott was in The Exorcist 3. Okay. And Brad Dourif played a psycho insane asylum dude in
The
that.
Exorcist 3. I never watched that. To be honest, I never watched that. I
saw the first one, though, right?
Yeah, of course. That's like absolutely a classic. Yeah, it's an absolute classic.
So good. It's really out there, but it's really, really good. I met Linda Blair at a function. My wife and I met her, many years ago now, but she was just sweet as she could be. Very, very down to earth, regular kind of person. Really,
not traumatized.
Not traumatized at all. If she was, she didn't. Well, what you have to remember is when you're making a movie, what makes it great is not just the script or not just the acting, but it's the special effects, it's the music, it's the way it's scored, the way it's cut, and the way it's put together. It makes or breaks an actor, and as actors, we're dependent upon all of those things falling into place to make us look good. And the director having the eyes on us to make sure that the moments that they pick to focus on us are the honest moments, are the most genuine moments. And
so you're not really feeling what we're feeling when we're watching it, when you're acting.
No, you get into it. You're into that moment. At least you hope you are. But then it's cut and moving on to the next scene, or we're going to try that again. We're going to set now for the next shot. The long shot, or your close up, or my close up. So it's very technical. So for her, I can imagine it wasn't nearly as scary making it. Although she was a little kid, you have to think about that. But
that's what I was thinking.
Scary, for us.
Linda Blair, was she able to officially watch that film?
Oh, probably not when she was a child.
Probably not. Yeah,
I'm sure she didn't see it. She may have never seen it. Some actors never see their work.
Watch their work.
It's a little difficult to watch yourself because you're going to pick yourself apart. Should have done it like this, or should have done it like that, or I missed that moment, or so you kind of beat yourself up after the fact.
But can't you learn from watching yourself?
You do learn from watching yourself. It's a painful process, but you do. But you do learn from it. But sometimes you want to watch it once and then forget about it and just move on to the next thing, so that you can,
let it go and
move on to the next thing where you can be present in.
So let me ask you, in the movie No Retreat, No Surrender, it came out in 1986, I think. That's
right.
And over the years, it became this cult classic. Yeah, we are now talking about. And but in 1986, was it a hit? Was it a big hit?
Well, I shot the film in 1984.
Okay, 1984.
It carried over into the first part of 1985, like January. We shot the scenes in Bruce Lee's grave and the scenes in Seattle. We shot all of those scenes in like January, February of 1985. And it wasn't released until the spring, like April of 1986. So they couldn't figure out where it was going. And New World Pictures picked it up. and they actually had a theatrical release. And I have a copy of the LA Times that has Sylvester Stallone as Cobra, because that was released the same week, and Kurt McKinney as, No Retreat, No Surrender. At the middle of the LA Times. I've saved that.
That's how you know you've made it, right?
That's
yeah.
great.
Well, wow. I'm opposite Sylvester Stallone, one of my idols. So that was pretty cool. But yeah, it took a while for them to figure out where, who would release it and where. So and then I know they had a couple of different versions. They had an American version,
okay,
and then a European version, which music is different, I think, in the two films. And some of the scenes are actually different. A few scenes that were omitted in the U.S. actually were in the European version.
When I watched it yesterday, in Germany, all our movies are dubbed. We are no subtitles or anything. Just we have voice actors.
So you had never heard my voice before until today?
Well, now the time it was on TV, I never heard your real voice, but now it's on DVD, and you have the option to hear it in English, of course, in the original version. But at that time, it was only in German.
Yeah,
so,
I did watch movies that are subtitled too. I love watching foreign films. I haven't mentioned any because I never remember the names of them. But ever since, I don't know, for the last 30 years, I've been watching European films and French films and German films and whatever I can get my hands on that's good. And I always like to hear the real voices and just read the subtitles. For me,
of course.
I think the translation of jokes and sort of
there are
nuances as well that you kind of get lost in translation sometimes.
Yeah. Lost in Translation. That's a Bill Murray movie.
Also a good movie. So, but I noticed that they dubbed the voice of the actor who plays Bruce Lee. Yeah, they dubbed it with it was the same voice actor who usually dubs Sylvester Stallone and Arnold Schwarzenegger here in Germany. So when I watched that as a child, and I heard that voice of Bruce Lee's ghost or of Bruce Lee. Yeah. So it was like it was something special because you were very used to that voice because it was the voice of Sylvester Stallone and the voice of Arnold Schwarzenegger and some really other people.
Cool. You're the first person that told me that. What's that?
You have actually been in a film with Sylvester Stallone.
Yeah, somehow.
I just didn't know it. That's a great story. I did not know that. Well, that actor, he was actually Korean, so he spoke Korean. The director and Corey Yuen and all those guys only spoke Chinese, Mandarin or whatever. And Keith Strandberg, the writer of No Retreat, No Surrender, spoke Chinese and English. So he did all the interpreting. So when I was doing all of the scenes with Bruce Lee's ghost, he was speaking Korean, which I knew a few Korean words from my Korean martial arts instructor, usually names that he was calling me when I wasn't doing what I was supposed to do. So I had to, they said, he's going to say this. We would rehearse the scene, but basically, look at your script here. That's what he's saying. So you want to react when he says, chow mein, whatever, then you react to that with this dialogue. So I had to pretend that I was hearing him say what he was saying because he was speaking Korean.
I don't know how you guys do that. That's like the next level of complexity with acting, isn't it?
Yeah.
Listening to Korean, pretending it's English, and acting in response to that. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's what so much. I mean, think of the actors that do a lot of sci-fi stuff. They do, the green screen and all that. You're pretending that this monster is coming at you or something, but it's not. So that's the magic. I think that's what we all love, the magic of making movies.
Yeah, of course.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So unfortunately, you did not shoot the sequel, No Retreat, No Surrender 2?
No.
But it was planned, right?
It was planned to be, you know, that I was going to shoot it, and Jean-Claude was going to be in it too. And it ended up series of events that took place and delays, and you've probably heard the story, but it's, you know, things went down and it just didn't come to fruition, and that's General Hospital. Well, actually, I was offered the American Ninja series of films.
Yeah, I've heard that. That's
after
also
Michael Dudikoff had done.
Yeah, that's absolutely great.
I
would have loved to see you in that, because I think that it's probably was for the third part, and an actor named David Bradley, I think, did that.
Yeah, he took the part when I turned it down. So so then I went on and did General Hospital. But I don't know. They were all going to be filmed in South Africa, and at the time I was not, you know, the apartheid. I was not too pleased with what was going on over there. And I just thought it kind of wasn't right to go there. Yeah. They wanted a multi-picture deal, like 3-4 films.
Okay.
I just didn't want to be that locked into that. And two, you have to realize that even with No Retreat, No Surrender Part 2 and 1, all those films are non-union films. So especially when they went out of the country like that, there was no union rules, there was no real protection or anything like that filming out of the country. So there was, you know, there was a lot to it, you know. So, and when General Hospital came calling, and that's like a ABC net, you know, not primetime, daytime network show, but it comes with, you know, insurance and you know,
of course,
big pay and you know, all of that, you know, that goes with a pension, you know, that kind of stuff. It's very appealing to an actor to have that.
Yeah, of course, I understand that. And I think, I mean, after all, you're an actor, so you approach that differently. I think, you know, as a viewer, you think, well, it would have been so great if you just, you know, did, I don't know, American Ninja movies or more martial arts movies or whatever.
Me, I look back now and go, maybe I should have just done everything that came out.
Yeah, you did.
Okay. Yes, to everything, you know, because those are opportunities that not everybody gets, and you know, but you know, you have agents and you have managers and you have people that are working with you that are trying to help you, guide you in the right direction, and help you make the smartest choices, best choices for yourself for the long haul, you know, and monetarily and all of that. So, but yeah, I certainly back on an iron. Why not just do everything?
Yeah, I mean, but this other movie I mentioned, Sworn to Justice, I mean, you kind of returned to martial arts with that.
I did. Yeah.
Kind of.
I was always looking for another, you know, martial arts film to do. I wasn't always looking for something that was going to lock me into, you know, filming out of the country for multiple pictures and things like that.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
I was always looking for that, you know, I'll do this one, you know, I'll do the one and let's see how it goes. And a lot of times they, you know, no, they want all or nothing. So.
Okay, I see. But I mean, just like I recently watched the movie Mortal Kombat.
Yeah.
It was just some new. I mean, they already did that in the 90s. I think it's based on a video game. Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But it's when I watched it, it was like being in the 80s again, because they don't do these kind of movies anymore. You know. Yeah. These martial arts movies, or
I would like to do another martial arts film. Quite frankly, I would like to do, you know, a lot of films, but certainly I would like to do another martial arts film. I saw the Jackie Chan movie, The Foreigner, which is
with Pierce Brosnan. Yeah,
you know, he's no spring chicken, but he's still got his chops. He can still perform those martial arts stunts, which is great. And luckily I can too. So I hope that, you know, I get a chance before I get too old to do another one.
That would be great.
If not, I'll just have to play the old guy. I just did a movie where I played the father and it's, just the dad role. So, sometimes.
You're still 10 times fitter than Chris or I. So
that's true. Yeah. I mean, it's pretty interesting.
I hear a lot of people that just say they really love 80s movies. And my daughter's philosophy or thought on it is that the 80s were she thinks it was just this magical period of time where we were on the cusp of all of this stuff that we have today with, Facebook and the internet and all that. So it's the last little bit of innocence before we all exploded into this cyber world that we live in now. So
I say before children were telling their parents to be more environmentally friendly.
Right.
The 80s was the last time where McDonald's really was a great place to eat.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah, well, I think in the 80s there was room for kind of, for imagination or for fantasy. There wasn't that. Today it's like, I mean, at that time there was like Star Wars, and you would just had to imagine how, I don't know, how Darth Vader became Darth Vader, But then after that they just told the whole story, so the imagination was absolutely gone. It was just because they showed you everything, and I don't think that's in general speaking it's a good thing to see everything, because where's the imagination?
That's what I like about the 70s movies that I was telling you about before, is the action sequences were more real. You didn't see people behaving like superhumans. You saw human beings responding to their situation as best they could, and by some chance they pull it off. They make it happen. They're not, dodging bullets. That's why I just thought that genre of filmmaking just lends itself to a more realistic story.
More aspiration as well, maybe, because when they're not cartoon characters, you actually think, oh, maybe I could do that,
That's right. That's right. And that's what people liked No Retreat, No Surrender. That's why I liked Rocky so much. And that's why we all like Jaws, because they had so many problems with that mechanical shark on that movie that they had to shoot everything with just movement of the water and the music, the score. The score is so much of what made that movie. And the amazing acting from, Roy Scheider and Robert Shaw and Richard Dreyfuss, those guys, just the scenes on the boat at night, it's good stuff.
That's what I meant. There was enough space for imagination, because
you're about to make me cry realizing that shark was mechanical. Just ruined the dream for me.
I'm sorry, Sydney. I'm sorry. But then, just to ask a personal question, then my script was because my script, the script I've sent you, it was not realistic. I mean, it was like a fantasy.
Oh yes, but it was magical.
Okay, thank you. That's really nice of you. That's nice.
Yeah, and there were some really good scenes in there. There was plenty of places in there for you to have this magical science fiction type film, if you want, without showing everything. And in fact, you didn't show everything in it. There was some stuff that wasn't shown.
Yeah, that's true. Okay. Oh, thank you.
So I think you can make a movie like that and have it that intriguing and that interesting and that have to get that magic that you're talking about without a bunch of fireworks. A bunch of explosions and people flying through the air and all of that. So no, I think you were onto something there with that.
There's a lot of mystery in that script, isn't there? He came to me and he said, "Can you translate 400 pages for me?" And I thought, oh, I couldn't stop reading. I thought I'll just do 10 pages now. I was literally had to keep going. I had to keep going to find out what happened next. It was so good.
Yeah, I did too. It grabbed me. So I think.
Thank you.
We're gonna make that happen. We're gonna make that happen.
Hopefully.
But you'll make it happen.
Let's make it happen. I need to come to Germany and shoot a movie.
Yeah, absolutely. I hope so. Really, I hope so. I hope so. So, okay. So we kind of reached the end of our conversation.
Oh no, can't I keep him a bit longer?
We may have to do part 2, a sequel.
A sequel, hopefully.
Great.
But just my final question would be, did you watch recently a movie which you could recommend to our audience? Is there some kind of, great movie, game changer movie, something you watched the last year, during this year?
During COVID? Gosh, nothing's coming to mind, but I tell you some series that I watched. I know it's not a movie, but I really, really liked Ozark. I don't know if you guys have seen that.
Yeah.
That's with that's
at Netflix. It's on Netflix.
Yeah, but what's the name of the actor? It's
Jason Bateman.
Jason Bateman, right? Yeah.
Teen Wolf.
Yeah, that's true. Teen Wolf 2. That's Teen Wolf 2.
Yeah, there's another series on Netflix that I really liked a lot called The Haunting of Hill House.
Okay, it's horror.
Which has, you will recognize Elliot from E.T. is in it. Henry, is it Henry Thomas? No. Is that his name?
Yeah, I think it's Henry Thomas, yeah.
Was that The Haunting of Hill House?
The Haunting
of Hill House. It's a 10-part series, and it's just the family moves into a big old house and they're renovating it. They're fixing it up, and it cuts between the family living in the house when all the kids are little to present day when all the kids are adults, and the father is now no longer the ET kid. The father is now Timothy Hutton.
Oh, Timothy Hutton. Okay.
Timothy Hutton. Mm-hmm. He's quite good in it. So that's a good one. And then a French series I watched. I just finished series Lupin. Do you know Lupin?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, Lupin. Yeah, it's with Omar Shire.
Yeah. Very good.
Absolutely. Okay.
Very good. So I think I watched a lot of that kind of stuff during COVID. A lot of. I think everybody
did very well, didn't they?
But I mean, like the small movies or the good stuff or the series you in today you find it mostly on streaming services, right?
Yeah.
It's not at the cinema anymore.
Right.
Yeah. That's true. Okay. So, Kurt, thank you really, really much for being our guest tonight.
My pleasure. It's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was really great talking to you. Absolutely.
And
to meet you finally, it was absolutely great.
Thank you for letting me gate crash. It was brilliant. It was absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sydney, it was great having you along. Yeah, good.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. It's lovely to meet you, and absolute honor. You've done amazing work, so thank you so much.
Well, I'll be calling you both as soon as I get to Germany.
That's been an amazing episode with our guest Kurt McKinney. As we all know, this show is usually in German, but we're hoping to be able to bring you amazing international guests like Kurt at least once per month, every month from now on. Over to you, Chris.
Or Kurt every month. That would be the other concept.
I think Kurt might get slightly sick of that after a while.
Hey,
a little bit.
Okay.
I'm game for anything. I'm game for anything. It's fun. It's fun talking about movies and meeting nice people.
Let's get your German wife on next time. That would be great.
I know. I will have to get her. She's a little shy when it comes to speaking German. So.
Okay. Me too. She's not.
Yeah.
Okay, well, then officially stay in line because we are doing the cold open, but officially, thank you very much, Mr. McKinney, Kurt, sir, for being my guest, for being our guest, and see you next time.
Thank you.